My name is Jordan Pearson. I'm from Torbay in Devon. I've been a youth worker, I've been a support worker, and I've even ran my own community centre. And throughout those journeys, I've met so many ordinarily kind people that don't get the recognition that they deserve. So this is my attempt to recognise them. I think kindness is within all of us. It costs nothing to be kind, but it probably means the most. We're looking for kind people that are passionate about what they do and really trying to make a huge difference in their community. These people are the backbone of our society, giving one thing that you can't get more of, their time. In this series, my friend Rach from Part-Time Working Mummy joins me as we travel up and down the country in our search for ordinary kindness. In this episode, we've come to the Lache in Chester, a large housing estate just south of the ancient city, home to 10,000 or so residents. We've come to visit the Larder in Lache, a social supermarket and café. Daniel, along with a fine team of volunteers, have made it their goal to reduce food waste, protect the environment, and provide an affordable place to hang out and have a brew.
Basically, the social supermarket, what we do, we've made contacts with supermarkets and shops in the local area. So any surplus that they have, we send the driver at night, they pick up the food. We obviously store it all here. So our members, they pay £3, so that they remember they don't pay for it, it's membership fees. So they get to take about £30 worth of food home for £3. They can do that 3 times a week. You don't have to be on any benefits. There's no caveats to use it. It can be anyone, from homeless to doctors. It's really inclusive. It's not exclusionary. So that's the social aspect, is that it's cheap, it's affordable, it's helping the environment, and obviously it's a hub as well, so it's not your typical shop. That's the social supermarket.
So this is open. What was the driving force behind this, behind doing it with waste food? Like what made you do that?
Okay, so there's an organisation called Chester West Community Together. A lady that used to work for them, Georgina Clark, she set up a residents' coffee and cake morning at Lache Community Centre around the corner. So I was one of the residents that turned up because one of my mates said, I'll just pop down for a coffee. So I went. So a group of us got together. This is where we all met, me, Rita, etc., Katie. Another girl, Hannah, she had a contact in Buckley, which is just down the road, and they did something similar. They did a pay-as-you-feel social supermarket, which shut, so it left the area without anything of that nature. So we thought, we can do this in the Lache. I feel there's probably a need here. So we did questionnaires, we went door to door asking if people would like it in the area, and everyone was really positive. A lot of people said they wanted a café, so we got the café on board. So yeah, that's how we started. And we started with just one table, with just bits and bobs of fruit from a supermarket, fly out within 20 minutes and there'd be nothing left. And it's snowballed, and now we've got a shop, the supermarket, and loads of fridges. So it's got really big all of a sudden.
So how did you get supermarkets involved?
So we had to make a lot of personal phone calls to supermarkets, but also we registered with FareShare. I don't know if you've heard of FareShare.
Yeah.
So obviously they deal with organisations. So we're a member of FareShare. We're also in touch with Neighbourly. Have you heard of Neighbourly?
No,
So we get our food from Aldi and Lidl from Neighbourly. So there's a few different organisations. We work with Cheshire Food Hub. There's another shout out for Cheshire Food Hub. They sort us out loads of food. So it's really working together with other organisations to get you started, I would say.
Yeah.
We're now in a position where we've got lots of food. We periodically have to keep putting statements out that we're not a food bank at all. We're nothing at all related to a food bank. In fact, our members are helping us save the environment. So, you're doing a good thing, an honourable thing, and you're paying £3. So you're a paying member and you're getting about £30 worth of food. So you're not getting anything for free. You don't have to sign any forms. You don't need to be on benefits. There's none of that where there is with a food bank. So there shouldn't be that stigma, but obviously we do have to keep reiterating it. And if somebody felt that, then I would bring them in, make them a cup of tea, and just say, look, you know, it's not a food bank. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You're doing an honourable thing, helping the environment.
And explain that to me. So if these people stop coming here because of stigma or whatever their reasons, what would happen to that supermarket food if you're not collecting it?
If we weren't collecting it, then it would go in the bin. It would literally go to landfill, and it would just sit there rotting for years and
me as a single mum would go and buy that anyway from the supermarket for full price.
Yeah, you would buy it anyway. And I mean, it's really good quality food. Most of the food we get is from Waitrose. Now, most people can't afford to shop at Waitrose. I can't go to Waitrose for me daily and weekly shop. You know, it's not saying I can't afford to buy some things from there, but I would go to more of a budget supermarket. So the food we get is really high quality. And a lot of the time we get stuff that you might not have seen before. We get unusual vegetables that I've never eaten before. There might be something that's eaten a lot in foreign cuisine, but we don't see it much. So it gives people an opportunity to taste stuff they've never eaten, you know.
It's brilliant because you're just helping so many different things. You're helping with the environment and saving that from going to landfill. You're helping people that walk in here that need food, and you're helping people that are perhaps isolated and just need somewhere to hang out.
Yeah, it's definitely. I just need to reiterate as well that the people that walk in, they're helping us. Yeah. They're helping us, and they're helping our objectives. So our objectives is to help the environment, essentially, to stop food being wasted. So we value the members. They're doing us the favour. It's not the other way around.
So tell me the chain of food. So you give food here. What can you do with that food that doesn't go?
At the Larder, we operate on the hierarchy of food waste principle. So obviously it's organised like a pyramid, and at the top it would be the human being eating the food. But obviously below that, so there's, you know, giving it to animals, giving it to a neighbour, composting it, all these measures before it gets binned. So we try not to bin anything. We've got like a zero waste policy. So the food that's not able to be given to customers or members, so for example, we've got some potatoes or carrots that don't look all that. We've got an animal sanctuary just down the road, the Lache Animal Sanctuary, so we provide them with food for the donkeys. We support a couple of pigs. One of the directors has got some friends that have some pet pigs, so we take food.
Pig.
Yeah, they get to eat loads of our waste. A lot of food we put in a food bin outside, and we send it to a biofuel plant to be made into fuel, basically. That's based in Helsby, I think, but don't quote me on it. It's not too far. Our driver takes it, and then, you know, other than that, it's like if you've got a loaf of bread and you won't use it, feed the birds or compost it or recycle it. Don't put it in the bin. Give it to a neighbour. That's it, basically.
So you're not binning.
We try and reiterate all the time to our members not to bin stuff.
So it's clear that food is the number one priority here, but it's much more than that. Dan showed us around and shared some of his other ideas.
We've just bought an espresso machine, so when we're open as an actual cafe, we've got real coffee, you know, and we're going to do it at a much cheaper price point than, so over the road they charge, say, $2.80 for a good coffee. We're going to charge £1 or $1.50 tops. If someone wants a Nescafe, it's 30p, so it's going to be really cheap. But if you want an espresso or a cappuccino or whatnot, it's a little bit more, but it's still really affordable. And that's going to supplement us to run this place, so we can be standalone and not reliant on funding, so that we're
sustainable.
You're sustainable. That's the one. So this is the garden. When we took the place on, this was just 7 or 8 feet of nettles, nothing else but nettles. So it took us months to sort the garden out. We got community in, volunteers to weed. One of my friends did all the decking. This building here is we're looking for some funding so we can turn half of it into an office and the other half into more food storage, because we're rapidly running out of food storage. Obviously, the space needs to expand, so we've got space. This little bit here is Rita's garden. So she designed it. So we've got a little pond. We've got our composter at the back. So obviously any waste that we can compost, we put in there. Round the corner we've got a chicken coop. We've not got chickens yet, but we're gonna be rescuing some battery hens. we're going to start maybe doing some projects with the kids around here, around incubation. Have you seen them when they incubate the chickens? And obviously we can educate the kids then, because the food waste from the chickens, our food waste will feed the chickens, and then the manure will be used on the plants. So it's a cycle, so it's educational for the kids.
Cool. So this is where you keep everything, is it?
Well, we keep obviously your ambient food, stay out of the fridges. The fridge, anything that needs refrigerating goes in here. We've got freezers in the back.
Oh, amazing.
We've got a big tin store in the back, so all our tins are in the back. We've got thousands of tins.
Fantastic.
This is Steve.
Hi, Steve. Nice to meet you. I'm Jordan.
So Steve, for a long time, was one of our most loyal members, our waste warriors. He's just progressed to volunteering with us.
Fantastic.
So, how did you first find out about the Larder?
I'm not entirely clear, but I think it was through a posting on Facebook, a local Facebook page, and it piqued my curiosity. I found out a little bit more about it and then started coming down here because I feel very strongly about the environment and the fact that so much food is going to waste, and it seemed like a brilliant project that I wanted to be associated with, initially as a user, and then eventually to become a volunteer. It was very accommodating. Everybody was a facilitator. They couldn't do more to help than you just felt very welcome.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a good feeling about anywhere. Whereas you go to a supermarket, there's a certain amount of camaraderie between people on the till and being served. It only goes so far, whereas here it's very warm and very affectionate, and I like that. You know, it's good. I mean, there's enough bloody misery, isn't there? You know what I mean? It's good to have a bit of happiness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I get the real sense that environment is close to your heart. You're really passionate about that.
Shouldn't it be with everybody?
I totally agree. But I just wanted to know, what instilled your passion for that?
Right. Having children, then having grandchildren. But more than that, I was explaining to you earlier on. In my youthful days, I worked as a cost and planning engineer for a large petrochemical engineering company, an American company. And I was employed down in Stamford-le-Hope, near Southend, involved in that industry, which I always felt uncomfortable with it. But the money was so seductive that you just sort of tended to just put your blinkers on, you know, and just think about the salary. But one day I was sort of having a bit of it, as I explained, I had a bit of an epiphany. I was sitting on the prom at Southend-on-Sea and just watching all these cars going by with single occupants and thinking that I'm helping fuel and motivate all this madness. And sort of thought long and hard about it for a couple of weeks, and then just went in and handed my notice in, and never had anything to do with the petrochemical industry ever since, apart from being a customer.
I'm a new dad. I've got a little 1-year-old, and the other day she has this orangutan teddy, and for some reason I just got so emotional because, you know, it's perhaps more her lifetime that's going to be affected. Is that something that sits with you a little bit about, like when you mention your grandchildren there and the environment?
It goes beyond the sort of the threat of individual species. I mean, make no bones about it. When you talk about the planet dying as a result of what we're doing to it, it will evolve, adapt and evolve. But the trouble is we're dragging all of the other species and the environment that is perfect to sustain us all, providing we live within reasonable bounds. I mean, I don't know what everybody's aspirations are, but I just don't understand why people will prefer to think somebody else will take care of it and I'll just live as I want to live. I just don't get that, because we all have a responsibility towards each other. Some accept it, some aren't even aware of it, and some don't care. So, I don't know, it's a hard one as a parent, because your responsibility isn't just food, clothing, education, love, affection. It's way beyond that. What's your life going to be like in 50 years? What if you have grandchildren? What are their lives going to be like? And so on and so on and so on. Do we want to leave a mark, or do we want to leave a rubbish tip? You know, it's a simple choice, Because people have led such a luxurious and indulgent life for so many years, it's difficult to get them to give it up.
With these stark realities laid out for all of us to see, it's up to us to make these small but important changes. The Larder in Lache isn't trying to change the world, but it is trying to make a difference. And if we all did that, the world may change after all. To find out more, go to ordinarykindness.co.uk, or to donate, go on the Just Giving page and type Ordinary Kindness.
When I was young, I wanted everybody to be converted immediately, just based on what I said. But as you get older, you get a little bit wiser and hopefully a little bit more prescribed in your attitude. And I look upon it now as just dropping a pebble in a pond. And you just hope the ripples reach the right places, you know. Just be patient. Just do what you can. Be kind.
And it's working.
I hope
You're
so.
here. You're volunteering.
Being kind.
Yeah.